For more, let's bring in political commentator, best-selling author, and host of the Brilyn Hollyhand Show. That'd be Brilyn Hollyhand because it's called the Brilyn Hollyhand Show, so it must make sense. Hey, Brilyn, so we know you're not doing what those students are doing at those universities. You're doing the polar opposite, but you're a freshman now at Auburn. I wonder what your take is on all of this. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, David. Happy Friday Eve. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you and your incredible show this morning. You're right. I just finished my first week here of college at Auburn University, and I got to tell you, we're seeing this sweep across the nation. Unfortunately, a lot of my peers feel afraid to be able to speak out and use their First Amendment right to share that they're a proud, bold conservative. We see it time and time again. I got to tell you, one of the larger crowds we had when I spoke on college campuses was when I called into Harvard University, and a packed auditorium met me twice. We did it before the election and right after the election to react to it. And I remember checking with my team afterwards, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Did I see that right? That Harvard University had a packed room for us? And they said, yeah, there's actually more conservatives there than you would think. They're just too afraid in today's modern age to speak out about it. That's a problem. We live in a country where, unfortunately, the left seeped into the education system in the 60s and 70s. And what we're seeing today is a byproduct of that. We're seeing activists in teachers' clothing terrify my peers into switching their ideology to be more liberal when they turn in papers because they're terrified that their blue-haired nose-ring professor is going to grade it bad if they come out saying abortion is murder. Unfortunately, we've got to push back against that, David.
Well, Brilyn, I'm going to resist the very strong temptation to say anything like roll tide or anything like that, and I'm just going to move on to, here's where you're really blessed, because it does seem like a ridiculous thing that students have to put up with this, but here's where you're really blessed. I did grad school circa 20 years ago at St. Louis University, and we were told, don't talk about your politics. That essentially meant roll over and agree with whatever the professors tell you you believe, and what the social justice posters hanging in your hallway tell you you should believe. I had my master's degree, my first master's degree, held from me, despite the fact that I was a top student, absolute top student, top grades in my program there. And my pastor finally said to me, Brilyn, this is what I want you to do. Go apply for your master's degree and PhD at some school somewhere where no one's ever heard of you, and in a different town, because my husband was a very prominent politician in that town, so everyone knew my politics. So I went all the way to California to go to school from Missouri. And did not tell them. I played the game. That's what I'm saying. I played the game because my pastor told me, whatever sins you incur by lying about what you believe all the way through grad school, I will take for you so that you can go get your PhD and fight for our Christian values. So I gave my testimony at my graduation after not exposing who I was or what I believed for all of those years while I got my master's degree and PhD in California. If you can believe that story, we didn't have a student organization to support us. You couldn't even say, if you even said what you believed, you would have been exposed, right? And humiliated by the entire school. I had like I said, my first master's degree actually withheld from me because someone figured out who my husband was. So this is the kind of thing that you don't have to deal with anymore. Do you feel that momentum growing, Brilyn?
Absolutely, day by day, and War Eagle to you, Dr. Gina. I'll say as we get to college campuses and we see this growth continuing to happen, I'm reminded of about a year ago, last summer, when we were in Milwaukee with President Trump for the convention. Our team at the RNC were putting together some themes for each night. So every speech was make America safe again, make America powerful again, different themes. The idea that I pitched, and we didn't end up using it, was make America talk again. My generation grew up in a day and age where it was so taboo to talk about politics and faith at the dinner table. And unfortunately, the byproduct of that today is that we don't know how to talk about those things. We can scream at each other, we can grab a bullhorn, we can protest on the college campus, but we don't know how to sit down at the lunch table and talk about our differing ideas. When we get back to that, we talk about what you just mentioned there, of being able to sit across the table and have a civil discourse conversation where we can still leave that table disagreeing, but hey, guess what? We had a conversation. And right now we're not even talking to each other. Make America talk again is super important.
It really is. I hope President Trump is listening, because I think that's a great message that we should bring forward. No, it really is. And that's what Donald Trump has set an example for us in doing. He is out there saying, he's modeled for us that when you talk and you're just who you really are, you're just authentic, you're just honest, right, with the American public, we can come to some great consensus. Brilyn Hollyhand, we don't need to agree on everything. We don't need to. You and I, I'm sure, don't. Probably close, though. Probably really close. Brilyn, thanks for being with us, and you keep on keeping on.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
You too.
You too.